Okay, today we're going to talk about how we regulate our fluids based on hormones. And we're going to talk about 4 hormones that you're already familiar with. We're going to talk about angiotensin 2, antidiuretic hormone, aldosterone, as well as your natriuretic peptide hormone. And this should be a good review for you since you've seen it before in several chapters, all these different hormones. So hopefully it will flow very easy while you're going through the video. So let's talk about angiotensin 2. And do you guys all remember where we get angiotensin 2? It actually is produced by your liver. And angiotensin 2 is derived from angiotensinogen. And angiotensinogen gets converted to angiotensin 1, then eventually to angiotensin 2 with the help of an enzyme called renin coming from your kidneys. And ultimately, why we produce angiotensin 2 is in response to any low blood pressure or any sympathetic stimulation that we have low blood pressure. So what is angiotensin 2 really? Angiotensin 2 is actually a vasoconstrictor hormone that actually helps us build up our blood pressure or increase our blood pressure. So how we can look at the functions of angiotensin 2 is kind of interesting because, again, keep in mind it's there to increase your blood volume and blood pressure. How does it do this? So as I said before, it's a vasoconstrictor. So when you vasoconstrict a blood vessel, what are you doing? You're closing in on that diameter of the blood vessel. So therefore, you're going to increase the resistance of that blood vessel. So therefore, you're going to increase the actual ability for our blood to bounce up against that blood vessel wall. So I'm increasing blood pressure by increasing resistance. Now, another thing to think about how we can actually increase blood pressure and blood volume is by decreasing how much fluid I'm going to output. For example, how do I do that? One way to actually reduce how much urine I'm going to make is I'm going to decrease my glomerular filtration rate. When I decrease my glomerular filtration rate, or GFR, I'm decreasing how much blood is getting filtered. Therefore, I'm decreasing how much water is getting left from my blood at the glomerulus. So once I decrease my GFR, I'm able to actually keep a lot of the water in my blood vessels, therefore maintaining my blood volume and therefore maintaining a blood pressure. Another thing that angiotensin 2 does, it actually helps stimulate your thirst center, so it makes you want to be thirsty. So you're ultimately going to feel when you're thirsty, you're going to want to drink more water. So the more water you drink, you add it to your digestive system, and therefore you're going to add that more towards your blood volume and ultimately increase your blood pressure. So keep in mind, angiotensin 2 is there to increase your blood volume and blood pressure. Now our next hormone is your antidiuretic hormone, or ADH, and another name for antidiuretic hormone is called vasopressin. And if you guys can remember way back from chapter 17, your antidiuretic hormone is released from your posterior pituitary gland from your hypothalamus. And with this type of hormone, it does the same kind of thing as your actual angiotensin 2. Is there to increase your blood volume and ultimately your blood pressure. Well, how does antidiuretic hormone do this? It actually helps increase resistance. Again, when we increase resistance, we're increasing our more interaction with our blood, interaction with wall of the blood vessels. So I'm increasing my blood pressure. Another thing that antidiuretic hormone does, it actually helps decrease how much output of fluid we're doing. So how do we do this? How do we decrease fluid output? One way is to reabsorb water that actually ends up in your kidneys. So say I've gone through the filtration process. Do you guys remember that we can reabsorb water at my proximal convoluted tubule and my nephron loop, as well as my distal convoluted tubule and collecting duct, reabsorb a lot of that water that we don't want to lose out through urine. So that's another way. If we reabsorb water, I increase my blood volume and my blood pressure. And lastly, my antidiuretic hormone also stimulates my thirst center, so I can actually add more water to my diet to ultimately add more blood volume and blood pressure. Now, our third hormone is what we refer to as aldosterone, and you've heard me talk about aldosterone way back in chapter 17, and aldosterone is released from your adrenal cortex region in your adrenal glands. And this hormone is kind of interesting because it gets released anytime angiotensin 2 gets released. So think of aldosterone as kind of like a backup to angiotensin 2. The other thing that aldosterone does is that it actually decreases your sodium levels in your blood. If we decrease our sodium levels in our blood, we're able to actually end up bringing more water from my cells back into my blood plasma to increase my blood volume and ultimately my blood pressure. The same thing goes with aldosterone as if I increase my blood plasma by potassium levels, ultimately what happens, I'm able to reabsorb more water into my blood volume as well to ultimately increase my blood pressure. So that's another great way to think about how we can actually increase our blood pressure and blood volume with the help of aldosterone. So the key ions to think about with aldosterone is it tweaks your sodium and potassium levels to be able to maintain your blood volume and blood pressure. Now, thinking about aldosterone, how do we do this? One way to think about aldosterone is that it increases your reabsorption of sodium, which is great at the renal tubules, as well as specifically at your nephron loop. Another thing is that we're going to decrease our fluid output by increasing water reabsorption at our renal tubules, specifically at the nephron loop. But one thing I can do is I also can get rid of my potassium in order to actually maintain my blood volume. So I might increase my secretion of potassium out into my urine output, but I also might increase my excretion of potassium too to get rid of it, because the more potassium I have, I'm going to reabsorb and hold on to water. But if I get rid of it and I secrete potassium, therefore, I could actually get rid of that water alongside with potassium. Now, our fourth hormone is referred to as AMP, or atrial natriuretic peptide. And this hormone is really interesting because it actually opposes all the actions of the other three hormones I talked about. So ultimately, AMP actually reduces your blood volume and decreases your blood pressure. Now, how does this happen? Say, for example, we end up having an increase in our blood volume and in our blood pressure. What happens is I have these stretch receptors that you guys remember called baroreceptors in my atrial chambers. And what happens is when my atria start to expand or stretch, my baroreceptors will stretch too and say that I have too much of a blood pressure problem if they become too stretched. So ultimately, AMP will start to be released by the walls of my atria, and they actually start to play around with basically my sodium levels as well as my potassium levels too. And they also, when you think about AMP, is it also gets released in response to any release of angiotensin too. So it's a good way to think of AMP as a backup to actually balance out the work of the other hormones. So how does AMP do this? One way AMP decreases blood volume and blood pressure is by vasodilation. So when we open up a blood vessel or increase the diameter of the blood vessel, we can actually help decrease the blood flow and decrease the blood pressure going through those blood vessels. Another way to decrease blood volume and blood pressure is to increase your glomerular filtration rate. The more we filter out in the glomerulus, the more water comes out of our blood and ultimately gets into urine and out to the exterior. So by increasing your glomerular filtration rate, I can actually decrease my blood volume and blood pressure. And lastly, the other thing that AMP does, it actually increases our fluid output. So the more urine I produce, the more I excrete, the more I'm going to get rid of my sodium and my water inside my urine. So therefore, I can also drop my blood volume and blood pressure.